John Bentley.
What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy J Tuck, Cowboys Up, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the Cowboys Fans Only channel. So if you're new, I want to say welcome, and go ahead, comment, like, subscribe somewhere down there, and be sure to turn on that notification bell so you always stay updated with new content. But I got a very special guest, y'all. Yeah, it's that season, and everybody's been talking about it. If you're on Twitter, you know, that's the hot topic button is draft talk, man. So I got one of my guys who knows his stuff, man. DMV Cowboyz Fanatic, man. What's up, bro? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, J Tuck, man? Appreciate you for reaching out, man. I've been a fan of the show for the little bit that you've been on. Quite frankly, I'm really surprised that you don't have way more subscribers, but you're on your way up, man. I really love the show.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. So get those subscribes up, man. You heard the man. Get those subscribes up, man. Yeah, I'm having a blast, man. Like, definitely check out the channel, man. So go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you before we dive into this draft talk, man.
Yeah, man. So just like the name show right there, DMV Cowboyz Fanatic, man. You guys can find me there, man. I've been pretty much cranking out about two players a week that I've been working on. Mainly just focusing on first round, maybe, top 10, maybe if we trade back. So, just a bunch of possibilities and really just general draft talking anyway. So
right,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man. So let's get into it. So I got to ask you this question because we kind of talked about it before we came on, but I need you to discuss this with the people, man, because the people need to hear this. When it comes down to the draft, it's kind of segregated right now. It's like a civil war going on between Cowboys Nation. Are you team BPA, best player available, or are you just instant need, which we can all agree pretty much is the defense? Where do you stand when it comes to that conversation?
Well, there's a third option. Not best player available, but best value available, because obviously best player could be a quarterback. And obviously we ain't going to take a quarterback. Well, I wouldn't take a quarterback, but you get what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like best value available. So I guess that will fall under BPA.
BPA, okay. Yeah, team BPA. Shout out to my guy, Albert Smith, man. He's team BPA. My bro, Nix is in the house, man. He's team BPA, man. So I know he was probably going to have some stuff to say, man. Actually, Nix, go ahead and check your Facebook if you want to jump on, bro. Feel free. But we're going to dive into this draft, man. So when it comes down to it, a lot of people's been having a conversation. I had a long conversation today about this when it comes to Twitter. What do you think the Cowboys' main focus is when it comes to this draft? Do you think defensively it's the cornerback position? Do you think it's going to be the defensive line, linebacker? Where do you think the Dallas Cowboys are going to aim as far as the draft is concerned?
To me, I think that when you look at the numbers, you got to see that we were 31st against the run. Right. And, while we gave up some big plays in the pass game, we were 11th in the pass game. And once we got the interior rush with Gallimore, in there, then we got Randy Gregory off suspension, things in the back end got a little bit better. So,
Right.
but I think that the focus needs to be on the run first
Right.
because, teams were getting 5 a clip on us. And,
Right.
we couldn't stop anybody from running if we tried.
Right. And this is what I say, because a lot of people on Twitter was like, Tuck, you crazy. And I was like, honestly, y'all, when it comes to the Cowboys, the cornerbacks wasn't really my main concern. I feel like defensively, the cornerbacks was the last area of focus for the Cowboys, because you have to think, once we got Diggs back healthy, we had Cheeto back, and we had Anthony Brown, our corners played a lot better. Earlier in the season when we had different injuries and we were just running, what was his name? Worley out there and some random guys out there. We were just tossing everybody out there. The guy that we got from Miami, I forgot his name, like Steven something. And we were all still like, who the hell is that? That's when things were up and down with our secondary. Yeah. But I felt like once we were able to get healthy, the 3 cornerstone guys within Diggs, Brown, and also Cheeto, our defensive front play a little bit better, as you just mentioned, but our corners play a lot better. We didn't have as many miscommunications and big plays that we saw earlier in the season. So I don't think that's the main focus. Just like you mentioned, bro, the run game, we have to address it. It's been way too long where the Cowboys are able just to give up a amount of run. Even go back to the game against the Rams, the run game was just horrible this past season, man. So we have to address that. And so let me ask you this, bro. What are some players that you're thinking about when it comes to this draft that you say, you know what, if we get that guy, that can solve our issues with the run?
I'm thinking more so late first round if we trade back, early second round. And maybe, really, guys I like, obviously, I talked about him. I'm doing the video on him, Christian Barmore. I think that he could be a guy that could help. He's a guy who can do 1-3 in our scheme. I think that I like Jay Tufele from USC. Obviously, I like Marvin Wilson, which we're going to see what he does at the Senior Bowl. He's at the Senior Bowl now, so if he has a good Senior Bowl showing, he can do he can do some damage. Those are 3 guys. I like the guy out of Washington, Levi Onzurke. So those are some of the guys that I'm just naming off the top. I've heard some things about Nixon from Iowa, but I haven't had a chance to watch him. Those are some of the guys off the top of the head that I could really think of.
Yeah, and if you follow me on Twitter, man, I posted a clip of Marvin Wilson at the Senior Bowl, man. He's tossing the centers around, playing a little bit mean. So, because we got to understand, Marvin's the top 15 talent, man, but he's just been up and down. So he's been kind of bouncing back and forth, man. But I feel like whoever can bring Marvin in, man, if you can get him in the second round, that would be a huge add to your defensive interior, man. The only question that I've been having with when it comes to Marv, will he be a real nose tackle? I think he'll be more of kind of a 3 tech, which he can possibly be in the rotation with Tristan Hill and Gallimore or whatnot. But I don't think he's really just that nose, per se. But if you can add, the more the merrier, because that's what we said, man.
Yeah, we got to add multiple. We got to add multiple defensive tackles in this draft, in my opinion. Multiple.
Right. And that's what people have to understand. We cannot just fix this team solely in the draft. We could add some pieces, but it's going to have to be done in a mixture of the draft, free agency, and possibly via trade. So that's why I've been telling everyone to chill. So we talked about this a second ago, so I'm going to let you pretty much have the floor, bro. So a lot of people's been saying that we cannot draft offense in the top 10. So I want to let you just have the floor, bro. I'm going to sit back and chill. And I want you to talk to the fam and let them know what's up. And because they've been hearing it from me. They've been hearing from my guy, Nix. I want to let them hear from someone else who's really in tune to this draft about, possibly drafting offense at that top 10 pick.
Yeah, so mainly, like, I'm looking at, the teams who were just in the playoffs. All of them had offense. You know what I'm saying? All of them, even Buffalo. Although Buffalo's defense was really good, what today's NFL has become is high-powered offense and defense that gets timely stops. None of these defenses this weekend that played relatively like a great game. They all gave up points. They all gave up yards, and it really came down to them getting turnovers, them getting timely stops. But offensively, what did we see from Tampa Bay when they got in the red zone? They scored points, scored touchdowns. What did you see from Kansas City when they got in the red zone? They scored touchdowns. Buffalo and Green Bay had trouble to where they had to kick field goals. It says something when you get in the red zone and you score touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Because if you've ever had to call plays against a team that you can't stop, when you're on the other side, you kind of tense up a little bit, and you're like, I got to go for it on fourth down here, or I got to do
Right.
this, I got to do that, and you get out of character. So,
Mm-hmm.
in this draft, if I saw a guy defensively that I thought that could make a difference at 10, and that just makes our defense go from, bottom of the league to, one of the tops, I would say take him. But in
Right.
this draft, unfortunately, it just doesn't fall that way. You know what I'm saying? It just
Exactly.
doesn't.
Exactly, y'all. And I've been trying to explain this. Like, Lord knows I love me some defense, man. I've been wanting to tenacious defense in Dallas for quite some time, man. I was pro Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, like all these instant impact guys. But there just isn't one that I can really point my finger at and say he's top 10 worthy. If we get him, things change. And,
Well,
and I know. Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you this question: is it that there isn't the defensive player, or is it that the offensive players are just that much better?
I think the offensive players are that much better, and I also don't see it defensively. Like let's fast forward, and this was last season. I was all over the table. If we could possibly move up to get Chase Young, it is what it is. Salvage some picks, do whatever you got to do because he is that guy. But I feel like when it comes to this year's draft, who was this year's Chase Young? Who was this year's Jalen Ramsey? Who was this guy where you can look at and say, man, if we get that, then it's
nobody.
Exactly. And that's
nobody.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this. There's a guy who might be at 10 who handled Chase Young, and his name is Slater.
Right. Right.
So why wouldn't I get somebody who can erase him? Because he's killing us in the division.
Right. And he's going to be there for a long time. So you're definitely going to have some insurance policy for Chase Young. So let me ask you this, though, because we mentioned Slater last week. Shouts out to my guys, Knicks and Spoon and Elton and also Cowboys Fan Talk Rome. So they're talking about bringing in Slater, right? But my one drawback with Slater, if we bring him in this year, and let's say, for instance, Tyron Smith is healthy and Lyle Collins is healthy, where does he play? Do you think we're going to play him at left guard and maybe move on from Connor Williams? There was conversations about maybe shifting. So maybe shifting Lyle to left guard, putting Slater maybe at right tackle until Tyron Smith goes out, as we can pretty much count that in that he will go out this season, and then shifting him to left tackle. What is your thoughts? If we were to draft Slater at that 10 spot, where does he play if we have Tyron and also Lyle coming back fully healthy next year?
I would think, to me, I don't think that Slater has the interior strength. Now, he could have worked all offseason because he was an opt-out guy. He could have worked all offseason on the strength. But I think that he's more of a hands, feet. He's got really good hands, good feet. I think the right tackle would be perfect. I would move Lyle back inside personally. And, I would make Connor Williams, honestly, because we got guards now. We got McGovern. Who else do we have?
So we have McGovern. I mean, Looney can shift out.
Looney can. Biotis, I believe, can play some guard. So, we're okay there. What we really need is a swing tackle. We really need that, and it showed this year that we were missing that. So I would, use the resource of Connor Williams to go swing tackle personally. That's just how I would do it.
Right. Yeah, I know we've been all last year and years prior, man, about using Connor Williams as a swing tackle. It doesn't seem like they'll do it for some reason. Because he played tackle and also in college at Texas. But for some reason, the Cowboys are stuck on Connor Williams just being that left guard. And I will say this, Connor Williams did have a decent year, but he's just not that. He just hasn't really turned the corner and became what we've been expecting for him to be. So I'm personally okay if we move on for Connor Williams. I think Brandon Knight did have a solid season. Is he a full-time starter and ready to take on the gauntlet of being an NFL pro starter moving forward? I don't think so. I think he's more kind of the backup role, maybe another possible swing. But the one thing that I will say about this offensive line this year, we did add a lot of depth by getting Steele getting pretty much a full season at right tackle. You also were able to get Brandon Knight to pretty good half a season. McGovern played. So you got more reps for this younger core. But when it comes to the starting core, if Lyle comes back healthy and Tyron comes back healthy, I think our offensive line is still solid moving forward, even if we bring in Connor Williams. So that's the only reason I was kind of all right, I understand about drafting maybe a Slater if it falls to us, or maybe a Penny Sewell, because a long term it does make sense, and hopefully we won't be drafting top 10 again for quite some time. But just in case, I mean, I think that would be a safe insurance policy, because we all know where Tyron Smith stands. Let me add my guy Nick's in. What's going on, bro?
Nick. Oh, hanging in there, brother. How's it going, fellas? Everything's good?
Good, man. Hanging in there. We're doing some draft talk, man. So yeah. Okay. So I know it's kind of your thing, man. But he's on the side with us. I'm not sure if you're fully team Pitts.
I don't know. I mean, I started the Pitts thing. I'm saying, but look, if we're looking,
I'm talking about DMV.
Oh, DMV's team Pitts now, right?
I am team Pitts right now. Yeah, I watched Travis.
Okay, all right.
Another one. Refreshments are in the back. We got some snacks. Everything. Just go ahead, be in the corner.
Yeah,
we
man.
Got you.
that team Pitts train is getting big. Shouts out to my guy Law Nation. He dropped a bombshell video a second ago on Pitts, man, breaking down film, showing his blocking capability.
Yeah. I didn't know he could red
zone. Yeah, so I'm like, oh man, I'm supposed to sit back now and just wait things out. I mean, like I said, man, it's not really about drafting offense over defense, y'all. When it comes to this draft, I just don't see that guy that I say is top 10 worthy.
I was going to say also, my guy Brett Coleman. I don't know if y'all mess with him or not. He's got the film room on YouTube. He's over on Twitter as well. He tweeted out today. You ready for this? I'm gonna read the tweet. Yesterday. Kyle Pitts is going to end up with the highest grade I've ever given a tight end prospect, and that's coming from a guy who put OJ Howard in the top 3 picks back in 2017. So he's pretty high on him as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm worried about him even going before us, though. I mean, to be honest,
for sure.
I feel like
if he goes before us, then I won't feel bad. I won't feel bad.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that'll make it a lot easier. Like, all right, boom. They took him. He went to the Panthers. He's off the plate. But if he's sitting there, it's going to be hard to pass up on. So let's talk about this guy. So I know the hot topic button has been the cornerbacks in this draft. Pretty much the big 3 when it comes to Farley, Horn, and also Surtain. DMV, I want to get your aspect on this. Where do you stand with those 3? Do you think that any one of those 3 is a top 10 pick at this point? Or are you still kind of skeptical on all 3 and just like, if I could move back and still get them, that's perfectly fine, either or? Because I don't see any separation personally.
I don't see any separation really from the top 5 that much, honestly.
Right.
From the top 5 corners in this draft. Go
ahead, because you dropped the video. Go ahead and say who's one of the best corners that you saw that you done your breakdown on. Because you dropped the video the other day.
So I dropped on a couple, but I mean, to me, I did 4 of them. I did JC. I did Asante Samuel. My favorite is Asante Samuel Jr. He just so happens to be 5'10", so I know they even draft him there. But I think that he's the most talented of them all. But if I had to go corner at 10, the safe pick would be Surtain to me. Farley, I don't understand I don't understand why everybody loves him so much. The guy can't play zone. He can't play zone. He's the only one out of the top 5 that can't play zone consistently.
Right.
He has the most athleticism out of that group, so everybody loves that. But off the ball, like he's not really that good. You know, I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Right. I mean, it's but I mean, you nailed it though. I mean, it's the height, right? It's the speed, I mean, and of course, Virginia Tech has pumped out some decent corners over the years, right? And UVA and whatnot. So I mean, again, like you said, it's the measurables, right? I mean, it's the length, it's the speed, it's all that. But again, as you said, that zone, he's not. Right. He is not in that zone at all.
Right. And like I said, if I wanted to go the safest route, I agree with you, bro. I think Surtain is the safe route, but it's just not that much upside when it comes to it. I don't feel comfortable having Diggs back there and also Surtain back there. And I tell people, if you want to know the reason why, go back and watch LSU versus Alabama last year and see what happened when one of these wide receivers that the Eagles might grab, what they did to Diggs, and then also against Surtain last year. So I just don't trust them. I feel like they're too similar. I personally like J.C. Horn for the dog aspect. His father kind of NFL pedigree. He has some tenacity about him. He came out and said something on Twitter because I think they ranked another corner ahead of him today, and he said, "Okay, bet." So I kind of like that because we never really had that in Dallas. But he's not perfect. I mean, he has his faults too. He's very handsy. He gets beat sometimes. He's going to be that guy we're sitting back getting the holding calls and the flags tossed because you know how they do our cornerbacks in Dallas. And so it's just one of those guys, man. And we spoke about this earlier that Tyson Campbell, one of the guys I dropped the video on.
Yep.
You mentioned if we're looking for someone to really match Dan Quinn's scheme and what he likes, I think Tyson Campbell from Georgia really suits the bill for that. And he's going to be probably a day 2 guy that we can still grab after we take care of the offense as well. So any other guys out there that's floating, guys, that you guys can think of when it comes to the quarterback position that really isn't being mentioned that we think you probably take that second round?
I don't know about second round, but I got a guy that I really like. He's kind of between a corner and safety. Okay. I like Elijah Molden from Washington. I like him. I really like him. He's tough. He's really tough. He's playing in the Senior Bowl. So we'll really see like what he's like and what he's going to compete like. But, you know, I think he's about 5'9" or something like that. But he's really tough nose. And, you know, we might need somebody to play the slot, you know. So if we bring in Cheeto back, he might be somebody maybe in the 3rd or the 4th that we're looking at.
Right. Knicks, anybody else that kind of caught your eye? Because I see you tweeting earlier about a special linebacker, and we'll talk about him in a second.
Yeah. You know, I got a guy.
Me too.
I got a guy that I'm starting to look at a little bit. I still got work to do on him, but there's a guy on there that linebacker position. I'm like, okay. I'm about to change my thinking a little bit here, son. But man, and corners, man, you know, when we're talking about day 2 at the, you know, Campbell, obviously I love this. Now the one thing about him is not per se ball skills. We get into that kind of talk. You know, but the press guy, right? He fits the mold, like you said. The Molden kid's interesting. We've talked about him a ton before. You know, and he's definitely got a couple of characteristics that you like about him. You know, the thing I like about Molden a little bit is too. You know, out of some of these guys at the top, if they're true outside guys, I could see Molden in the slot though. And you know, depending on the Cheeto, what you're just talking about, you know, now maybe Molden makes a little bit more sense. But see, we started talking about a slot guy, Molden. But now I'm back over here to Sante Samuel. I get it. You know, I know he's not quite that 6-foot guy, but the Sante Samuel guy, man, I like a lot. You know, if they would get off the 6-foot thing, I would love to see them pick him up in the 2nd round. For sure.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
And I'm going to take my no bias off. I'm taking my no bias off, guys. But I'm saying the reason why I like Asante Samuel Jr. when it comes to Dallas Cowboys because I'm a firm believer. I think that we're going to bring Cheeto back. So you're going to have your 2 outside corners. You're really going to need a nickel guy to replace Jordan Lewis. I don't see Jordan Lewis coming back. And what better guy to bring in is Asante Samuel Jr. kind of be one of those depth guys you can get in the 2nd round. He is a ball hawk. He makes plays. The only thing is he's just short. If he was 6'2", he would be probably a top 5 pick in this year's draft.
He tackles well too. I mean, Caleb Farley tackles really well, but out of those guys, like he tackles better than J.C. Horn.
Yeah, I was gonna say Horn. If you want to talk about something about Horn,
Horn, the
tackle.
So what about I'm butchering his name. He's at the Senior Bowl of Fido from Syracuse. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
He had the brother, right? From
UConn. Melifonwu,
he's the brother of the kid from you know, UConn that, you know, I remember a few years ago Dallas was clamoring about, you know, and he kind of bounced around the league and got out. You know, for me, again, the kind of with him is, you know, if we're talking about Syracuse, the Cisco kid is where I'm at. You know, I think I love the kid's game.
I like Cisco. I like
Cisco a lot. I think he's a day 1 start. I mean, without adding no one during free agency, I think he's a day 1 starter, free safety for Dallas. The other kid, man, you know, I mean, we saw what your brother did. Doesn't mean that you're going to be the same. You know, your brother was a workout combine warrior, and you bounced around, and you couldn't even work in New England. So I haven't, you know, me personally, I haven't put a lot. I mean, to be fair, I haven't put a lot of work in on him. You know,
me either. Yet.
But I'm, you know, right now I'm cool. Is what I'll say. Shots my guy AD. I'm cool. It's my guy AD saying I'm cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the hardest part about the draft is like getting in love with like the measurables, man. You see the size, you see the speed, like okay, that can work. But can you play football? Like that's the thing. And you really won't know that, y'all, until you turn on the tape and really dive in because everyone looks good because we were sitting back getting Senior Bowl measurements all day, like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. And you're just like, all right, can you play though? Looking at his wingspan, all those different things. So, you really have to dive into this guy. So,
no, I mean, I'll give you a corner, like a third day corner.
All right, go ahead.
Ambry Thomas. I like Ambry Thomas out of Michigan.
Okay, I've been hearing people speak about him from Michigan.
He's definitely got some speed on him. A little bit of a ball hawk as well. Some ball skills, if you will. So I do like him. Dominic White, do we need 2 Trevor Diggs? I mean, I can't really be wrong with that. I mean,
do you need
2 Trevor Diggs?
I think that Trayvon Diggs would be much better if we found a safety to pair him with. And if I had 2 of them, I could do 2 of them if we adjust the safety position. I could do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let's switch over to the safety position. I know this has been the hot topic button because a lot of the guys that are being mentioned, they're kind of more of in a strong safety mode versus, that single high cover 3 free safety. And so I know, my guy Nas from Florida State, another Florida State guy. I'm sorry. He's being mentioned. You mentioned also Cisco, Morig, and then also the other kid from TCU, Washington. So who is standing out as someone that you could possibly bring in? They say, you know what, that's going to be our free safety and pair with Donovan Wilson, because I do believe the Cowboys do think Donovan Wilson is the answer at the strong safety position moving forward. So who are some guys that you guys got your eye on when it comes to the free safety position?
I mean, the 2 for me are Washington and Cisco for the free safety position. Now, again, I mean, Washington's 5'9" in cleats, maybe.
Right.
So, I mean, what will Dallas look at that? What will, more importantly, maybe Dan Quinn look at that and say, hey, I kind of made it work with a guy that wasn't 6 feet in Earl Thomas, so I'm okay with that. Is that going to change their thought process in the size? And we'll have to wait and see either via free agency or the draft. But for me, the top 2 currently right now, Washington and Cisco for me, man.
Washington, Cisco.
Another guy too, a lot of people aren't talking about, and you really have a hard time finding tape on him from Mizzou, Tyree Gillespie. Gillespie is another one. But yeah, I'm with you on Washington. I think that of the guys that I've watched so far, he's the most rangy. Morey, to me, I'm not as in love with him as most of our fan base is, and it's because I think that we already have enough guys that are more reactionary. I need guys that diagnose routes, that understand route concept, that kind of anticipate where to be and know where to be. I think Washington has that in this game. And if you see this year, they really didn't throw at him. And he's the smallest guy on the field, but because the year before that, he was picking left and right. So I'm with you, Washington. I like Cisco. Cisco plays pretty fast. And he hits. He sticks. So I like that. And I like your guy from FSU, man. Damn, how do you say his last name?
Nazrul.
I like him. I don't know if he's necessarily a free safety, but what I do know is that Donovan, he could be interchangeable with Donovan, and they could probably switch roles a little bit, and you know what I'm saying, you could go that route too. So those are the guys that I like.
Yeah, UCF kid too. Dominic brought up as well. Richie Grant's starting to get a lot of buzz and a lot of pop right now. There's Brandon Boyce bringing that up as well too. I haven't really got to his tape either. I've heard some things. I haven't really got to his tape that much though on Richie Grant, but apparently he's doing some pretty good stuff as well down at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, UCF. Like I said, we just need, if we're going to address the free safety position, we need a land shark that can cover, man. So you mentioned bringing in my guy Nazrul Dean with Donovan Wilson. I'm all for it, man. Let's put them back there and let them figure out. But I kind of sent a tweet yesterday that pissed a lot of Cowboys fans off. I think Xavier Woods is going to be back for the low.
I know, but I do too. I don't want to talk about it.
I think Xavier Woods is going to be back for the low, man. Because think about it, he's been a starter since he's been in Dallas. He's familiar. Steven and Jerry Jones are familiar with him. He's not going to cost much. We're going to probably do a little bit of bargain shopping at death. I'm
okay with him back as long as he's not a starter.
You're going to hear. You're going to hear this is more of a scheme for him.
Yeah, more of a
single high works better for him. They're going to sell it. They're going to sell it.
I'm sorry, Cowboys Nation, man, but it just is what it is.
You got to have. And here's the logic behind it: is you got to have depth. And if you look at the roster right now, outside of really Donovan Wilson, what do you have at safety?
Right.
So even if you go sign a May, sign any of these guys right here. That's on the board, and you draft a guy. Okay, well, you're up to 3 now. I'm like, hey, you got to. So you got to spend some money and get some depth there. There's no ifs or buts about it.
Next, I'm in the market for two defensive tackles and at least two safeties in this draft. So I'm doubling up at both positions in the draft. We got 10 picks. So you know, however you want to do it, like I'm in for doubling up for depth.
Right.
And got to give me a corner and a linebacker in there too.
A corner linebacker
and a tight end. And a tight end.
So yeah, tight end. I see you you know, side eyeing somebody else in that top 10 spot, man. So go ahead and talk about your linebacker, Nick.
Well, I'm early. It's early. It's early.
I know who it is.
It down. But
I know who it is.
The Joker, if you will, from Notre Dame.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
And you know, could have came out last year, stayed in. You know, I started breaking down some of his tape today and looking at some things. You know, obviously the size jumps off, right? Because he's 6 feet, around 220. But, you know, I look at, you know, you look at guys around the league, you know, if he can add about 10, 15 pounds, right? He's in the wheelhouse there. Then, you know, I kind of go over here to Atlanta, you know, Deion Jones, right? Who's done pretty well in that defense, right? And you kind of look at the measurables and whatnot. And so I'm like, okay, is this, you know, because when I'm looking at these guys, not only am I looking for guys that I like and I think they can play, but I'm thinking about who's here in the building and what they might want to look at that, right? And you know, I went through the Parsons and I've looked at the Bolton, you know, so now I'm getting down here to this gentleman here, and I'm like,
they don't jump out on the tape like him.
They don't have this. He's got a different gear,
right? He does.
He's got a different gear. And the other thing, and the other thing is, man, he can get off of blocks. Right. Like when you look at the tape, he doesn't get stuck. He gets off of blocks so far from everything that I'm watching. So yeah, I like him a lot, and I'm like, man, in my head, I'm like, well, would I rather have him or Farley? I think I'd rather have him.
I would rather have him than Farley. I would rather have him than Surtain too.
So then my next thing was, that went to the next thing. Would I take him over, you know, over Surtain? And I'm like, man, you know, and I still got to finish everything because like I'm about halfway through right now. Everything on him. I started it today, but I mean, right now, you know what? If it's 10, and they wanted to go there, I'm not upset at it. Right now, I'm not upset at it.
Yeah.
I think 10 is a little too rich, but I need to see these workouts. I need to see these workouts.
Which BTW, you know, I had to kind of heat check myself. Said, am I kind of crazy? Because I was looking at this, I was like, am I kind of crazy? And Big Game was like, nah, second round, you can do things. So I went and I scaled around. January 7th, Tommy Shea had him mocked number 9 to Denver, by the way. And I didn't know that before I would start talking to him about 10 on Twitter. And I said, maybe, am I missing something here looking around? And McShay has him going 9th for what it's worth.
He's going to jump up the board. It's going to happen.
Yeah, he's definitely coming up the board. Yeah, he's definitely coming up the board.
So let me ask you this, because speaking of jumping up the board, but we'll see a guy kind of sliding possibly. So if Parsons was to slide to Dallas at 10 spot, do you think he would be a fit, or you guys are cool on Parsons? I've never been the Parsons fan. Like I just
it would be hard for me. I mean, it would be hard for me not to take. I would take Parsons over the corner. I would. I gotta wait and see what all's going on with this behind the scenes.
Right.
What's happening, penis and faces. And I don't know what's going on there. I gotta kind of wait and see what I mean. You know, here's the thing. I would definitely have my, you know, my security detail, you know, when I had him into, you know, to ask. I mean, I would definitely have to dig deep and check and see what's going on here after you know, this information kind of came out about what him and a couple other guys. It wasn't just him. I don't want to just single him out. There's a couple other guys there talking about it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about Parsons until I got a full-on pause. He's kind of over here for me until I hear a little bit more and find out a little bit more about what the NFL and everybody's saying about what was going on at Penn State.
Yeah. Well, actually, now that I think about it, what we just talked about, I mean, I would prefer JOK. I would prefer JOK over him anyway. So I probably would. If it came down to it, I'm taking him. I would take him.
You guys are that high.
Yeah.
What about Collins? I know Collins was kind of in the top conversation. Is he top 10 worthy, or will he be one of those trade back possibilities?
He's a trade back possibility for me. I wouldn't take him at 10, but he's a trade back guy. I mean, personally, I think that he's a better football player than Parsons when I look at the tape. And then it wasn't until, like, I was like, man, Zaven Collins is probably the best defensive player in the draft. And I got the JOK, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, oh, my God. This dude guards slot receivers man up. Like, head up.
Yeah.
Like, Nobody. I mean, you're gonna need that in today's NFL. Like he's gonna change. He might change the linebacker position. Like safeties might start converting to being linebackers. You know, like in order to secure those top picks.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Nick said, 10, 15 pounds, that's doable in the NFL unless you're Connor Williams. But like, you should be able to put on, extra 10 to 15 on them on that frame, man. So like I said, and when it comes to linebackers, honestly, my favorite linebacker that I've watched so far has been Nick Bolton out of Missouri. Now, granted, we kind of know the history when it comes to Missouri linebackers, man, but you talk about a guy who just jumps off the tape. It's been Nick Bolton. But he might be later in that second round. So, we spoke about this, me and Nick did the other night, the possibility of trade back. So do you see any trade back situations that could work in the Dallas Cowboys' favor because you mentioned it kind of a second ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the quarterback market now, all of a sudden with Detroit and Matt Stafford, going the way that's going, there's going to be a lot of teams trying to trade into the top 10. So maybe those guys don't get Dustin Fields or they don't get Trey Lance, but maybe they're looking okay. I'm trying to get to 10 so that I can get that fourth quarterback off the board or something like that. The quarterback's going to go fast this year,
right?
Because all of them played, all of them have tape, all of them are going to throw. So you know what you're getting,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that was kind of my point when we talked about the other night, Tuck, is at the end of the day, we got to hope for, to me, the only way you're going to be able to trade back is one of those wide receivers, quarterbacks have to make it to 10. If one of those guys don't make it to 10, I don't know if there's something going to be on the board that somebody says, hey, I want to come up for, So then we're talking about, Chicago and Indianapolis. If they don't get their guy with everything that's going on right now, and they're sitting there 2021, maybe there's a guy that hits, maybe Wilson makes it, okay, or Fields, whoever makes it to 10. Well, then you can go back to 2021 possibly and let them come get their quarterback. Outside of that, what we broke down, 12 with San Francisco, would they come up? Or 15 with New England, would they come up? But outside of those two teams, I look at, Chicago and Indianapolis in 2021.
What about Pittsburgh? What about Pittsburgh as possible? Because Pittsburgh,
here's the thing with Pittsburgh. Now they're buying Dwayne Haskins. Big Ben's on the ticket for $40 million this year. It's there. I think Ben's going to play one more year. I think, and they brought Dwayne Haskins in to see if they can get that nice. Okay, sit behind Ben for a year, learn this game, and then maybe we can give you that. If not, now of course, I know like the quarterback, and a reason people are going to be a fever pitch. As of right now, quarterbacks look a lot better this draft than they do next draft.
Absolutely.
Sure.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. That's one of the big things about this draft. And while some of these guys are going to get pushed up, maybe in a Kyle Trask, I'm not saying Kyle Trask is going to get pushed all the way to top 10, but he might go even higher than, say, the fourth round or third round just because, but I want Kyle or I want to take a chance next year in this draft. I don't know. And, if I don't have to spend a first round pick. So things like that are going to happen, but we got to have a quarterback at number 10 for us to be able to trade back. Outside of that, I think it's going to be tough for us to trade back from 10 to start a quarterback.
I got a hunch that Kyle Trask is going to go top 10. I don't know why. When I look at his tape, and then he's going to the Senior Bowl, he has every opportunity to leapfrog Mac Jones if he outplays him at the Senior Bowl.
Right, but he's got an issue though. He's not playing though, right?
What, Senior
Bowl? Trask. I think he has an ankle issue. I think he went and still he's taking all the meetings and everything. I don't think he can play though. I think I saw something on that earlier today or late last night. I'll Google that real quick to make sure.
So we're talking about quarterbacks. So I kind of got to ask the question: what is the possibility we're sitting there on draft day, probably doing our draft viewing parties and whatnot, and the Cowboys take a quarterback?
What are the odds?
Yeah. Do you think that it's a possibility?
Because, by the way, Dane Brugler, yesterday from The Athletic, he was told that he's going, but he won't be playing because of an ankle injury. It's going to keep him from participating.
Okay,
this week.
That's going to hurt him. He's going to go day 2 because he needed to play. He needed that. That kind of sucks.
Right. But going to the question, what's the odds that we do take a quarterback? Like you mentioned, some of these quarterbacks there, contract situation with our guy is still kind of cloudy. What do you think the possibility of Jerry saying, there's a quarterback that fell to, whether it's Zach Wilson? I know he's kind of gotten the Romo type of, coining So do you guys think that it's a possibility, or do you think the Cowboys wouldn't even consider it? That's what I'm starting to get worried about, to be honest with you.
I think they'll consider it because Stephen Jones is in the office and he's kind of a cheap ass. So
Right.
I think that they're gonna consider it and make it seem like they're gonna get one, so that maybe somebody comes up. But I think they'll consider it.
Knicks.
0.00% chance they'll take quarterback at 10.
All right, thanks.
For the simple reason, this ain't everything they've done right now is not about a rebuild. You brought in a head coach to get us over the hump. You brought in a defensive coordinator to come fix this defense now, not later. Jerry Jones, we know the clock is ticking. So if they're going to do anything at quarterback, it's going to be a vested veteran. They think they can get them over the hump now, then it would be then as going the rookie route. That's where I'm at. So 0.0% chance from your guy.
Right. I hope you're right, man. But I will say,
I hope so too.
I will say though, the rebuild thing, they've done everything but sign the quarterback to a long-term extension. So
I'm gonna ask you, did Dak sign his contract yet? Because
he's Budweiser.
Budweiser signed him though. Everybody signed him, but the Cowboys. Kind of takes offense. Well, Emmitt Smith signed with Reebok whenever Dallas had Nike on the front of the old Texas Stadium back in the day, and he's like, and they had him on the field, they had him on the hill. It's like no matter what branding's out front, the old Reebok dig commercial that old Emmitt Smith did back in the day. So yeah, I know y'all served Miller Lite in there in AT&T Stadium. I'm signing with Budweiser.
Right, if you've been to the stadium, all those Bud Light sign or Miller Lite signs out in the parking lot got like Dak Prescott and Miller Lite. So how's that going to work? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, but like I said, I hope we do take care of Dak Prescott, man. But I'll say this, y'all. I feel like if he's not signed before the draft, right, and we're gonna drag this thing out to the summer, I feel like this will be the last season of Dak Prescott because I don't see a deal getting worked out throughout the summer because I just don't see why would you what could change from March all the way until June or July to get the deal done. So hopefully Dak is assigned pre-draft going into free agency and we don't have to worry about that. So DMV, get your take, man. Dak signed long term. What
he needs to be signed long term. I just don't trust the front office to get it done because they're just not good at they're not good at negotiating.
Right.
They're really not good at negotiating. And really the only thing Dak hasn't done is really put his foot down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody else that got long-term deals did that. Even Zach Martin did it.
Right.
Yeah. Even Zach Martin.
Yeah.
He held out.
Mean, now let me ask you this though. Or is the front office crazy like a fox? What's going on over here in Philly with their quarterback and all that drama with the head coach that got fired and everything, right? Hey, what's going over there in LA with the Rams and that quarterback that got extended early and all of a sudden the head coach and whatnot? Now, I'm not saying Dak shouldn't get paid. I was on record tons saying that Dak is further ahead of those guys and people didn't want to hear that anyways. Then that's fine. But these guys that got extended early, all of a sudden, now they might not be here. Now, of course, we know Philly is because they got rid of the coach. They chose the quarterback. Easier to get a coach in there than the money that you gave that quarterback. But we don't know about that quarterback yet over there with the Chargers and that head coach. Because that head coach, I guarantee you, isn't going to get pushed out for sure. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Goff and McVay over there. But yeah, no, I think it'll get done. Honestly, I think he gets done before free agency. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there. I think it'll get done before free agency for the simple fact, $37 million versus $25 that you have available right now, and you can go ahead and sign him, and it's not going to cost to eat up that whole $25 million, and you can go get active in free agency and do a little bit of work, and they're going to have to do some work and can't tie all that up. So I think they're going to get it done. The numbers will be funny to see, obviously, but I'm going to say this one right here, they're going to get it done. And, look, you played with it for 1 year. The stove is a little hot. You don't want to play with it another year. You want to send a message to the rest of this team, hey, we're on board. It's go time. And I think they kind of mess around with that. If you kind of decipher some of the stuff that Jerry said, hey, this is on me, COVID this, that, and the third, and we watched them already get this defense lined up and lined out. I think the very next thing is as soon as the new year's named and everything's finalized, when that first 5 to 10 day window of the league new year, I think they'll get the deal done. Even though they could do the deal now, but I think they'll wait till the new year of the league and they'll get it done that first 5 to 10 days.
I hope so. And really, I'm just looking at like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, which I know Josh Allen is going to get the bank, and that right there can really make things tough for us. You know, that could really make things tough for us.
Now, of course, we always go by this, right? It's not about where you're at, talent wise. It's just next in line. It's how this thing works in the NFL. So we say next in line. Do we think Josh Allen's going to get more money than Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think he'll get heck no. Patrick Mahomes is going to a second Super Bowl in a row.
Yeah,
and I don't think he will, but I think he'll be right up under it. You know what I'm saying? And that probably maybe 30.
So he'll be in the 37 to 40 mil is where he'll be.
Right.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah. So
Lamar, same for Lamar, 37, 40 mil on the extension.
You kind of got to put him there because playoffs, MVP, like you kind of got to put him there.
Right.
And then
and of course, that's the cap. And I'm using that because the tag is 37.7 this year. I think is what the tag is.
Right.
And that probably drives the tag, right?
Yeah. So they get it done early. Yeah, you're good. I mean, again, we kind of expect that to be in the 40 million range, give or take, right? So maybe it doesn't hurt it too much. Maybe it doesn't hurt the DAC negotiations too much.
But you can't go in there at 35. I know that much. You can't now.
Right.
No, 35 was out the 35 was out the door. As soon as the tag hit and it was official before he ever took a snap last year, the 35 was out the window at that point. You already knew because you're negotiating off the tag. That's how it works. So automatically the starting point was 37 as soon as they couldn't get the deal done. So so we know that's where it's at now. So I mean, Deck's going to probably, depending on how many years they want him, then maybe they can figure that out. The 5-4-year deal was the big stickler, like everybody said. It wasn't really the money that was the problem. It was the years. So for whatever reason, and why they were worried about the years is beyond me. Turn it in and let's go. Hopefully that won't be the stickler this year. And 5 years or 4 years, 200 million. Is that's about what's that? 200 guaranteed? That get you there? Maybe somewhere around in there.
But do you guys think that since Dak has gambled on himself this far, that he's going to roll the dice just one more season and really put the Cowboys in the bind?
I don't. I can't see him doing that. Not after coming off that injury. I couldn't see him. I wouldn't do it personally. I wouldn't. Yeah.
But I mean, you roll the dice this long. You've been injured. You're at the end game now because if you make it through this season, then you really hit the free agency market because the Cowboys won't be able to bring you back.
And we're already talking about the draft class for quarterbacks ain't great.
I was about to say that.
Year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You talked about Josh Allen and what Lamar's probably going to get. So I mean, he's going to be within range. So it's like, all right, they don't give me my money. You might as well gamble. So maybe that is the way that Dak Prescott is putting his foot in the sand, saying, I'm not going to Cowboy per se, but hey, I'm going to take these franchise tags. And then next year after that, you guys, good luck with your quarterback position. So it's really hard to know who. I mean, I think both parties are really to blame with this. But like I said, there's a possibility that Dak, I mean, you gambled this far, man. What really do you have to lose? I mean,
it's true. I mean, barring an injury, which he's been a healthy guy from the most of his career outside of last year. But you never know. Emmett kind of came out and said this thing that he's talked to him like, hey, you're getting all this other stuff that's happening here in Dallas, take a little bit less money, yada yada yada, and all that sounds, that sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that sounds great. And that plays well with Cowboys ish, whatever. Just get the money. And to me, and where you're probably right on this is. Here's where maybe I'm with you, and where I do just play on this is I am going to put my foot in the dirt because I did continuously gamble on myself to the point where I finally did get hurt. Right. So if you're not going to show me the money, well, then I'll hang out here another year and then I'll deuce because you're not going to tag me the third year and move on because y'all have done me wrong. Now, I think he got some bad advice from his team last year during this negotiation process. And back to what DMV said, man, look. Stop with this old idea that deadlines gets deals done, Steven and Jerry. We're not really trying to hear that no more. It's outdated. It's your guy, and especially when you're talking about your franchise quarterback. Pull the trigger, get the damn deal done, and let it be over with and move forward. So some of that I agree. It's on both sides. The whole get it done because y'all basically came out of your back caves at the very end, tried to get it done. The lawyer's like, hey, guys, I know you got something principle. We're going to beat the deadline. So let's not get to that again. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, if anyone deserves to be paid, and I've been saying that, man, it should be Dak Prescott. Like, if we pay Dak Prescott and all of a sudden we ain't got the money to sign Michael Gallup or whatnot, I would fully understand. I get it. We taking care of the most important position on the team, which is your franchise quarterback, y'all. So, hopefully my idea of them drafting a quarterback is not even a concept they're even thinking about, man. But I feel like if you start seeing some of these names slip and their gears start to turn, man. Like, okay, well, maybe we could bring in Zach Wilson.
I know. I was going to say that. They would love. They would love Zach Wilson.
Yeah, and then Cowboys fans will be or some Cowboys fans will be foaming at the mouth. You can sell that story, and this franchise, y'all. I'll be honest with y'all, man. I was sitting back the other day and I watched the Chiefs win, go to their second Super Bowl, man. And it was heartbreaking, man, because I just don't never see this organization doing what it takes to get to that level of consistency. Like, I feel like if the Cowboys ever going to make a Super Bowl, it's going to be a flash in the pan season. We just got hot at the right time, and there we are. But to see the level of consistency that you're seeing with the Patriots and the Chiefs and these other teams, I just don't ever see it because this organization doesn't function properly like a typical NFL
football
team.
Organization.
Like a football organization. It's a business brand.
Yeah, we the problem is we basically try to patch the boat as we go along. Is the problem. We're never we're never all the way in, but we're never all the way out. You know, we're kind of stuck in this in between limbo. We're never going to go full rebuild mode. Basically, from the time that Parcells came on board, from that point till now, we've never went full rebuild. It's always kind of been this thing on the fly. We're catching lightning in the bottle because, Romo was an undrafted guy. Oh, we caught lightning in the bottle again because Dak is a fourth-round pick. So, they're good enough to keep us afloat, and we can try to cherry-pick pieces here and there, right, and kind of keep this thing moving. That's why, to me, as we're talking about between Team Tank and all that stuff, during the season, I'm like, man, I'm a the Band-Aid off kind of guy. And look, I said, if we're going to lose, look, I don't want to lose. I said, but if we are, then just rip the Band-Aid off and go full bore and let's rebuild this thing from the ground up and do it right, because that's the only way you can do it. Or you have to put all your chips in the middle. Look, the Bucks, they're in the Super Bowl this year. We'll talk about them for a second, right?
Right.
So they went to the Super Bowl, 2002, right? And then they, things happen, whatever, so on and so forth. They went and got them a coach, right? They went 7-9 last year, and they had pieces. They had certain pieces. They were kind of a quarterback away, some more weapons. They went and added more weapons, got another quarterback. Now here they are because they said, you know what? Don't even care about the money. Let's go all in. We're going to get Tom Brady. Here's Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, Antonio Brown, you're a little crazy, but come on along for the ride as well. We're going to draft some of these defensive pieces to go along because we already got these two linebackers in the middle, and they went after it. And that's the one thing that you just don't see from Dallas is
same thing with Kansas City too.
Right. And here we are. We need a defensive tackle and a safety on defense. That center fielder. Before you ever get to the draft, you can literally go out here in free agency and not just kind of put some spackle and patch this hole. You can go and get concrete to make sure this thing is good for 2 or 3 to 4 years with guys that are young enough. Dalvin Tomlinson, May, Justin Simmons, and go all in and sign your quarterback and have a 3 to 4 year run here. But again, like you said, we'll kind of ho-hum along the way. Everything else kind of on the fly. Oh, look, here's something shiny here, so on and so forth. But until they decide to push all the chips in the middle, we're just going to you're right, second. We're just going to be in this floating along. Hey, we might catch lightning in the bottom. That's why we get to these divisional rounds. Oh, we're 13-3. But every time we went like when we went 13-3 last time, we did it by running the ball because we were protecting the defense. It wasn't because the defense was special. We were protecting the defense, and we were so good because we had 3 first-round picks on the offensive line. We had a first-round pick in Zeke, but he was tearing the league up, right? And you had old Des Bryant out there doing his thing, and Jason Witten. And, okay, guys, as long as we get that lead and we can just chew the clock, we'll be okay. And we've never done enough on that side. So I mean, it's just not to get too preachy on y'all. No, but it's aggravating, man.
Jerry Jones, man.
And I will add something to what you were saying. Tampa Bay actually started to rebuild a while ago till they got to this point to where they could do that because Like they had to be so bad that they had to get James Winston number one. But
Right.
I mean, they got Vita Vea, a couple of other defensive players that you're looking at on that roster. And you're like, damn, that's a first round, that's a second round, that's a third rounder, and all of those guys are still playing. And really, they really didn't do too much on the defensive side of the ball besides JP, but they had JPP last year. So they really just built the offense. They were at a point to where they were rebuilding, and all of these things made sense. So.
And it's a sense of urgency. And I keep telling people, and once other players see that you have a sense of urgency to win, other teams just want to join. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I was explaining about Kansas City, right? Le'Veon Bell said back, I can go to Miami, but bro, I can go to Kansas City and get a Super Bowl, man. I'm rolling with them. What it is, you had the whole DeAndre Baker situation. Like, they see when you're all in, I just want to roll with them. But with the Cowboys, it's like, man, we all in if it happens, but we want to be smart about it. Like, no, like
we want to be all in our way.
Our way. Like Nick said, think about, they can say, you know what? I'm tired of losing, bro. I don't care what happens. I'm gonna sign Dak, get Dalvin Tomlinson. I'm bringing in Justin Simmons. Here's all the chips. Our cap is going to be busted moving in years, moving forward. You might lose a few pieces here and there, but next year, 2021, we're all in, and here's all the chips on the table. And I think once you would show that, this team would play with more of a sense of urgency. They're like, man, they're committed. Like it's they're on fire. They're ready to get this thing done right now. But I feel like with the Cowboys, it's kind of like, you know what? We don't need a safety. I can go get you this low tier guy and a Ha Dixon, a Darryl Worley, and plug those guys in. And I'm sure they'll be okay. They'll be serviceable guys. Nah, you have to change the attitude and change the culture. Even going back to what Seattle did. Granted, maybe people think that Donovan Wilson is kind of a Jamal Adams light. But you know what? Pete Carroll said, I don't give a damn. Take this first. It's a COVID college season anyway. And then next year, we should be back on top, at least in the playoffs, 19 pick. Here, you can have it. Give me Jamal Adams on my team. It's really just that simple, man. But I feel like the Cowboys, they just don't want to cross that bridge. And I don't understand why, because back when we were running things, it was that. If Jerry saw you can play, you can help this team win a Super Bowl, bro, Dion, whoever, Charles Haley, I don't care. Like, but something happened when it kind of shifted to Steven. That's just not what we do anymore, man. So I know it's the weeknight, so I'm not gonna keep you guys all night. So DMV, I'm gonna put you on the spot, man. You are now on the clock. It is the 10th pick. The Dallas Cowboys are up. You in the war room. Who is your guy, and what are you taking at 10, and the reason why?
Man, who's off the board? I need to know that.
All right, so let's say. All right, all the quarterbacks are off the board, right?
Thank God.
Sewell is off the board. So, all the quarterbacks are pretty much off the board. Sewell's off the board. Chase is off the board.
Okay.
Let's see who else can I take off the board for you. And I'll take Devontae Smith off the board. I'll leave Parsons available for you.
The Dallas Cowboys select Kyle Pitts from Florida.
Hey, great pick.
We got Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, man. And that's why I keep trying to explain to people. So I'll let you explain. So what is your reason for taking Kyle Pitts over Micah Parsons or the Joker as Nick's been kind of side-eyeing?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm even between Slater and him. What made me even was watching Travis Kelce catch 13 balls. See, it's not about, everybody keeps saying, oh, we scored 29 points a game, or like we were scoring just as many when everything was healthy as Kansas City. There's a difference between when Kansas City gets in the red zone and when we get in the red zone.
Right.
We're kicking a lot of field goals. Kansas City is scoring touchdowns. Travis Kelce is 13 catches for 100-something yards, 14. Like, I believe that not only is Kyle Pitts capable of that, but I think he's capable of making things easier for Zeke Elliott. I think he's capable of making things easier for CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb would love him. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we're a lot closer to being a great offense or an elite offense than we are, making the defense better overnight. So I'm going Kyle Pitts there and trying to rebuild the defense with the middle round picks.
Yep, I agree with everything you said, man. I just think he adds another dynamic. And we have to think about it, y'all. Who is now the measuring stick in the NFL? It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And what you're going to do when you play Kansas City, and I said this on Twitter, They gonna bring all their guns to the table. You gotta bring all your guns to the table and just air it out, man. Because if you think that if we're gonna draft Caleb Farley and that's gonna be our solution to be able to maintain this Chiefs offense, you mistaken, man. So they have to shoot it out. We have to shoot it out. But I feel like if you were to add Kyle Pitts, man, and like I said, you have Zeke, Pitts, Gallup, Cooper, CD, and Dak. We got some firepower, you know what I'm saying? And there's things that Kyle Pitts brings to the offense that Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz cannot bring. I'm not going to knock those two guys. They're great. They're great at what they do, but there's levels. And as my guy Lunatic just said, Kyle Pitts is a different type of tight end, man. Like, he can bring a different dynamic to this team, man, and also possibly your insurance policy for Michael Gallup if we were to possibly move on. Well,
Bingo.
Because you could have Kyle Pitts, you could have, maybe let him play flex a little bit, have CD, have Cooper, Kyle Pitts, maybe still use Jarwin, use Zeke or whatnot, and this train continues to roll. So I'm on for this Kyle Pitts things. Like I said, do the Cowboys really make the move? Do you guys think that the Cowboys will actually make that move though if he's sitting there?
I think that I didn't think they would make the move for CD, but I think that Mike McCarthy would make that move. I do. Right. I think Mike McCarthy is a best player available type guy. And Green Bay, if they've needed a corner and it's the best player available, they take a corner. They take a pass rusher. So I think that under Garrett, no. Under McCarthy, I think that it's a high possibility, especially if they believe in Dak like they say they do.
Right. Knicks?
Man,
yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, man, don't draft me no Kyle Pitts if you ain't gonna take care of Dak, man.
Facts. I'm being taken care of.
I mean, again, and it's going to depend on their board and how they rank these players. And as you were talking about, will the Cowboys take Pitts there? It depends on what they look at and how they're ranking, right? If they have him ranked like a lot of people have him as a top 5 talent, I mean, I think it'll be hard for them to ignore that guy. They're at 10, and of course, and here's the thing that's obviously the biggest issue. If there was that certified defensive tackle or rangy free safety there, I'm not talking Pitts at all. I'm turning. If there's a Vita Vea there, for instance, no. Give me Vita. Give me Vita. That's where I want to roll. But those guys aren't there in those positions I can get later. So let me go get impact. And the impact that Kyle Pitts can bring to this team, I think, not only just in the red zone, but making life easier for everybody. For instance, right? And everyone's like, oh, man, the Eagles, they went and got Darius Slay because of Amari Cooper. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you got 5 Darius Slays if we're adding Pitts into the mix.
Right.
And the biggest thing that I live and die by is, the winningest teams attack the middle, not outside the numbers, inside the hashes, in the middle. And Pitts is a monster within there. And it frees up, like you said, boy, CeeDee Lamb in the South's going to love having Pitts, man.
Right.
Woo, going to love having Pitts. It'll make everybody's job easier, including Zeke's. Because what are you going to do if you're in the 3? I mean, my goodness, if you're in the 3 wide receiver set and Pitts on the inline there, you're going to stack the box? Good luck.
Right.
So to me, I think just go look at Green Bay this past weekend, right? 2 for 4 in the red zone.
Right.
2 times inside the 10, didn't get it done because they don't really have it. I mean, look, their tight end had a good year, but they don't really have a difference-making tight end down there in that realm. For me, I think he's instant impact. He helps both sides of the ball, and I can still go get plenty of help for this defense in the later rounds with some of these guys that we're talking about. As far as Schultz going crazy this year, he put up the same exact numbers damn near as Jason Witten in 2019.
Yeah, all Schultz did was Schultz just
surprised us. He surprised us. Like,
he surprised us, but he wasn't impact. And I was thinking about it, like a lot of the things he got was check downs, and they were security blanket type things, but he was not breaking any tackles.
Right.
And I imagine Kyle Pitts getting that and breaking tackles or running past people. Blake Jarwin, he blocks better than Blake Jarwin already. So and Blake Jarwin's coming off an ACL. Like, I just don't understand how those two keep me from getting. I will never let Greg Ellis keep me from getting Randy Moss again.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it.
And a lot of people, and of course, a lot of people's trepidation is going to come down to, well, look at first round tight ends, right? Or even look at us when in the second round we went and took Escobar back in the day and how that ended up panning out. But you can't sit there and say, well, well, they haven't worked out before, so we're just not going to do it now.
Right.
Because every player is a different kind of prospect and what you got to look at and what they go about doing. So, I understand like, oh, well, I've seen some people try to say, well, he's Joku 2.0. Their tape in college does not add up to that. That's to me, it's a very lazy take looking at that and what he's doing. So, no, man, I think he comes in. I think he'll be the starter day one. And I think he makes this offense, even more scary. And you can still go do things, And I hear people, and look, and I like Slater as well, right? And the tackle from Northwestern, excuse me, right? But, I mean, how many times we've had 3 first-round talents on this offensive line and didn't get anywhere, didn't get past the divisional round. So, do we really need a three more? I mean, because there's a guy, if you want an offensive lineman, there's a guy from Notre Dame you get in the second round at tackle that'll be just fine. So, you look at what Pitts can do, not just overall in the game, because he, a lot of people try to say, oh, well, he's just a big wide receiver or he can't play on the line. Oh, no. Go dial up the tape.
Go dive deep.
He does it up. He does it all. So, for me, man, I don't think, honestly, the more and more we talked about this over the stretch, I don't think he's going to be there. But if he is, I would run and turn the card in.
Right. I agree, man. Like I said, bro, I appreciate you guys coming on. DMV, man, go ahead and tell everybody in the chat where they can find you at and all your stuff.
All right, man. Yeah, y'all can find me at DMV Cowboyz Fanatic on YouTube. On Twitter, you can find me there, Twitter as well. And guys, tonight I might be dropping my Christian Barmore tape tonight, so look out for that. It's definitely going to be either tonight or tomorrow morning.
Let me ask you, so they'll get a little exclusive from you. I went through his tape. What do you think?
I think early in the year they didn't have the confidence in him, but I think later on in the year he got better. And when the money was on the line, he got a lot more reps. So I think towards the end of the year, I think that his draft profile is going to say something like there's inconsistencies here and there, but as time went on, he got way better. So I think that he's a high ceiling guy. I think that he has a lot of potential, if that makes sense.
That's what's up. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, there's some things I definitely didn't like early. Boy, that Ole Miss tape still sticks in my craw.
Oh, the Ole Miss tape looks horrible.
That Ole Miss tape sticks in my craw. But you are right. Later in the year,
the whole defense looked bad. Looked bad. If you want to talk, Surtain looked bad too.
Yeah,
all of them look bad. Everybody. So,
but yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think Sid got a little bit better in the year. Sometimes I worry about his effort. Like when one guy gets a step by him, he's like, all right, well, next play, I ain't gonna be able to grab him. But I'm with you. I do think as well his ceiling might have the possibility to be a much higher than what we're seeing, because they did, the confidence did seem to grow throughout the year. I'm with you there.
Right. Nix, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at.
And also, Carolina will take Pitts real quick. I'm sorry. Carolina will take Pitts because they took my dadgum pet cat back in 2018 when they took DJ Moore. So they're gonna get me again with Pitts. They're gonna get me 2 times.
I mean, that's what they're kind of showing that, man. But what the Panthers take a quarterback? I know they kind of
Did Teddy B they trust? I don't know. That's been my thing. I'm like, hey, there's a quarterback there. Teddy B, maybe go get a quarterback, but we'll see.
I think they got to get a quarterback because of this draft and Teddy's contract. They kind of have out, after the next year. So
big facts.
So I think they got to get a quarterback.
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, though, you can find me your guy Nix _between the your and the guy. Obviously, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on I guess one of the Instagram movement now. Is that
I'm trying to get on the gram, man. I'm trying to get my numbers up on the gram, man. So fun.
Same on Instagram as well. And of course, YouTube Stargate Podcast, man. Hit the sub button, hit the notification bell. We're trying to get up to them 500 subs before the draft gets here.
All right, man. Definitely.
Yeah, and then also follow me. You guys know, Cowboys fans only. I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Comment, like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, man. We're going to bring up more videos, more live shows or whatnot. Got a few pet cat videos dropping soon, so definitely look out for that. And then also follow me on Twitter at JTuck151 and on Instagram at JTuck151, man.
The gram.
Follow me on the gram. On the gram, man.
Should I make a DMV for that? Should I make a gram, dog? Like put it.
I mean, there's a ton of Cowboys fans on the gram, man. Like, it's crazy.
They'll do it, dog.
They won't follow, man. Like, they'll comment and inbox you or whatnot, but not follows, man. That's the hardest part. But it's like, yeah, man. I like the gram, man. That's my home base. I like the gram, man. Twitter is up and down sometimes, man. Like Twitter can be a little annoying, man. I appreciate everyone who follows me on Twitter, but some of y'all, man, I don't know what it was. I didn't get my coffee or something this morning, but y'all were kind of snipping at me, and I was just like, Tuck, we can't draft offense. We gotta address his defense. I'm like, bro, you can address the offense and still get the defense. I've explained it. Nick's explained it. Spoon explained it. DMV just explained it. Like, what else do you guys want? Like,
Law Nation
explained it. Brian Brothers explained it. Like,
I'll tell you, the first person was on it wasn't even Nick's that was the first person on it. Before we was even talking about the draft, Elton said that a long time ago. I said, man, we don't need no tight end. I promise you, Elton said it a long time ago.
Yeah,
shout out to Elton.
Yeah, Elton said it, man. So yeah, guys, we can still go offense and address this defense. But if y'all think we're gonna bring in 8 magical rookies and turn this defense around, y'all sadly mistaken, man.
Got to get busy in free agency for this defense to get somewhere.
And in order to get busy in free agency, one, you have to sign your quarterback early.
You have to sign your quarterback,
man.
Big facts.
It don't help you don't sign your quarterback.
Yeah,
Marvel said the gram is for the kids, though.
Wink, you're on the gram, man. Man. Hey, man, I appreciate everyone in the chat, man. Definitely stay tuned. We'll probably lock in and go again Friday and run this back and do more draft talk. So DMV, man, whenever you're free, man, feel free to jump on, man. Like I said, we're going draft heavy until April, so we'll see what happens, man. But
hey, we ain't got no choice, man. We ain't got no choice.
Hey, nothing else, man. But free agency and draft talk, man. We're gonna get this thing right. Watch us all be wrong, man. Watch us take like a tackle first round or something like that. Edge rusher.
We're gonna take Bersall.
Yeah. We'll do something weird, man. But we'll see. Like I said, what gives me faith, man, is what Mike McCarthy and his Cowboys staff did last year. Under Jason Garrett era, man, I could say we probably gonna draft an offensive tackle and just be done with it, or a defensive tackle. But I feel like, and this is what, like, going back before I let you guys go, everyone's talking about, look about all the tight ends that have been drafted early, how they panned out. Well, look at all the times when Cowboys have drafted for need versus BPA. It typically hasn't worked out in our favor. Don't act like y'all were jumping on the table for Tristan Hill and Taco,
Well, and here's the other thing too, and this is what I told a lot of people, is like, look, I can literally pick any position and make that argument.
Facts. Especially quarterback. Quarterback.
Yeah, right. Quarterbacks. I mean, you can pick this position and cherry pick. Oh, look. I mean, look, Jeff Okudah, which, was brought up today about maybe the Cowboys should make a trade. Brian Broaddus brought up today about, hey, they've already paid the big money. You get him for cheap for 3, trade your 10th pick for him. He really fits well with this scheme. But you saw what he did last year in Detroit. It didn't pan out. So, I mean, we can talk about, we traded up for Claiborne at 6, right? And how did that turn out for us, right? And what happened there? So, I mean, we can kind of cherry pick these guys at any position and talk about how, this just didn't work in the first round. And, then I'll get people's like, how many first round tight ends got somebody to a Super Bowl? We had Jason Witten. I was like, well, this guy isn't Jason Witten, though. It's different, I mean, it's funny. I was like, then you hear about the offensive line. Like I said before, we had 3 certified first round, and low-key La'el Collins would have been a first rounder. I know we didn't take him in the first round. And where did we get? Divisional round. That's all we got to. So the idea that if we take this one guy, it's doom and gloom. I don't subscribe to that.
Right. Yeah, and like my guy said, take care of Dak. Ain't no other way. That's it. That's first and foremost. Because we don't take care of Dak, man. Y'all might as well just draft.
Cancel it. Yeah, it don't even matter. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you guys, man, for hopping on. Like I said, everybody in the chat, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and stay encouraged. Go Cowboys, man. We're going to figure this thing out one way or another. Peace.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.